Hello one and all, and welcome to my Dimension 20 ranking video! Sorry this took so long. There was a new season that came out, I had to watch it all, and then I added it to the ranking, so here we are. So I am talking about all of my favorite Dimension 20 seasons, where I rank them in a scale of 1 to 5 with some honorable mentions, and I'm going to convince you to go buy a Dropout subscription. That is the whole goal of this. Do I make money off of it? No. Do I hope they sponsor me one day? Yes. Dimension 20, if you ever see this, I will take 1 Peppermint Preston and 1 Boggy the Frog plushie please as payment. That's all I need. So for those of you who don't know, Dimension 20 is a D&D podcast that is on Dropout TV, a subscription-based service that is $4.99 a month. You can watch 3 of their seasons online on YouTube for free. On their YouTube channel as well, they do have the first episode of every single season, as well as like the trailers for each season and stuff, so you can get a little flavor of each season. Every season from Dimension 20 is different. Most of them are run by a different DM every single time with a rotating cast of characters. They can cover a wide variety of topics, subjects, and genres, and it's a lot of fun because you never know what you're going to get. As of now, I've watched every Dimension 20 season with the exception of Tiny High's Unsleeping City and Of Mice and Murder, because those are the 3 that I don't know if I'm going to want to watch because they just aren't my vibe, unfortunately. But I've watched everything else, and I have thoughts and feelings on them. So without further ado, here is Dimension 20 ranked. So first up, we're going to start with my honorable mentions, which are as follows: Pirates of the Leviathan, The Seven, Coffin Run, and Starstruck. All of these seasons are ones that I absolutely love, but they don't quite make the top 5 for me, but they are definitely ones I would go back and rewatch. I will let you know The Seven and Pirates of the Leviathan require you to have watched Fantasy High seasons 1 and 2 in order to be able to watch those. If you're a fan of gothic horror and comedy, Coffin Run is your friend. It's also one of the side quest seasons, so it's only about 4 episodes long. It's goofy as crap, and I love it. And then Starstruck is a space opera comedy that is 20 episodes long. Absolutely love it. They all have my heart. Now on to the actual ranking.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Number 5. The amount of shade this series throws at J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter makes my heart so happy. Yeah, I'm not a Harry Potter fan for a lot of reasons, the biggest one being, hi, I'm Jewish, if you didn't know. So I got a lot of issues with the series, let alone I never read them as a child. I had a friend that had like horrible nightmares, and my parents were like, you're not allowed to read that. But I read Harry Potter as an adult, and I had a lot of questions about certain aspects of that. Misfits and Magic calls out all my questions that I had regarding Harry Potter, both like the little nitpicky things and also like the bigger issues. It creates a very cute, queer, diverse, and inclusive setting for Harry Potter, while not being Harry Potter, while being hilarious. It's 5 episodes long. It has an incredible cast of characters. Abria Iyengar is the DM. I love her to bits. I really recommend it if you want something that is magic school and salty and sassy. Number 4 is Escape from Bloodkeep. In case you didn't know, I'm a little bit of a Lord of the Rings nut. My parents are really tired of me coming up and telling them about the random facts from the Silmarillion that I know. So like, I have a problem, let's just be honest. Escape from Bloodkeep is a love letter to Lord of the Rings fans that is literally a alternate reality version of Lord of the Rings told from the perspective of the villains, where friendship is magic. There is no better way to explain this. It is entirely on YouTube for free. It is 8 episodes long. It is DM'd by Brennan. It is incredible. It is goofy as crap. It is so well done. If he has my heart in terms of characters that he played, I absolutely loved his character. And also, God bless Matthew Mercer in that. Number 3 is Fantasy High Seasons 1 and 2, freshman and sophomore year.
Without any further ado, Dimension 20 proudly presents Fantasy High!
I started Dimension 20 watching Fantasy High. I had no idea what I was getting into. A mutual of mine suggested it. Thank you, Margot. Fantasy High is essentially high school, but fantasy in a world that is very well developed and very like complex political structures. I mean, it is Brennan that created it, so it makes a lot of sense. He's the one who DMs it. Fantasy High is 2 of the main seasons of Dimension 20, which means they're around 21 to 22 episodes long per season. They have really intense stories while also being surrounded, which is like the dumbest crap, such as Sexy Rat, It is a story about 6 teenagers dealing with life as teenagers in a fantasy setting, while dealing with their own personal struggles of religious trauma, home abuse, absent parents, general just teenagehood stuff, and life. It's really well done. It has some of the most heartfelt, deepest things I've ever heard. Like, that whole conversation between Adine, the therapist, during like the finale and having to deal with like her mental health was one of the most profound things I have ever heard. So yes, please do go into this knowing that there are mentions of suicide. There is depictions of suicide. There's talk of religious trauma and abuse. There's talk of parental abuse and trauma and mental anguish regarding like abuse of parents and stuff like that. There's stuff with like absent parents as well. So just kind of go into that knowing that, but I would say they handle it very, very well. If you'd like to know more about Fantasy High, I actually have a spoiler-free review of the first season that you can watch. I hope you enjoy it. Fantasy High is available for free freshman year on YouTube as well, so you can definitely watch it there if you'd like. All right, so this is the reason why the video is late, is my number 2, which is Never After. Never After is the most recent season of Dimension 20 that is entirely a really messed up dark version of fairy tales. Every episode has massive lists of trigger warnings, so please go into it knowing that. And they actually say it at the beginning of each episode. They give you the timestamps, which is like really great. So just make sure you read the list, double check everything's kosher, and then make sure if something isn't, you just skip that timestamp. Never After was so beautifully well done. It was also like one of the first seasons back where they had the minis again, which was like really amazing to see. The stories were incredible, like the twists and spins on classic fairy tales that were like even darker than Grimm's fairy tales. Brennan did such a great job. Honestly, the whole crew did, with making each of their characters feel so iconic, but also so uniquely different. All right. We've arrived to my number 1, and if you know Dimension 20, you know what I'm about to say. Number 1.
Our story begins with a crown of candy.
I am making a full review for Crown of Candy. I have a crazy idea before I make it though, and I don't know if I'm actually ever going to get around to it, but I really want to do it to make the video even better. Crown of Candy, for those of you who don't know and decide to go into this story thinking, oh, it's a cutesy little fantasy of Candyland. It is Game of Thrones meets Candyland, and you're going to have to know going into it, it is Game of Thrones meets Candyland. I got trauma by like episode 3 from that. Crown of Candy is a fast-paced political fantasy that is so incredibly well thought out, so incredibly well like documented, and the world building, as a fantasy lover and someone who just absolutely loves world building and stuff like that, it was incredible to see the level of like the languages that have been created and the names and the political systems and like all the different people, how they integrate and interweave with one another because of so and so being over here doing this thing during this time in their life and so over here. So well done. I know I've said that word like a million times, but it's incredible. If you like good storytelling and you think you can handle Game of Thrones in the D&D format, watch it. It's funny because when I originally scripted this video, I actually talked about the fact that we weren't going to get more Crown of Candy, because originally when this happened, the players stated that the show was so intense, they didn't think they could handle another season. But as I say this, the Ravening War trailer has just dropped. I highly recommend watching Crown of Candy before you go into the Ravening War so that you can be prepared for the trauma. But some people in the comments of my reaction video have stated that they are purposely suggesting to their friends to go watch the Ravening War first. And I just think that's mean. But if you want to watch the Ravening War first, it will be coming out soon on Dropout. I can't wait. I'm so nervous for this season. This is also the first season that's going to be DM'd by Matthew Mercer on Dimension 20, so I'm really curious to see how he does at the table. But I'm so excited for the new season, and I really hope you all join along in watching it, as well as going back and watching Crown of Candy. So which is your favorite Dimension 20 season? Tell me down below in the comments. Tell me why you think it's the best season. And if it's Crown of Candy, you're officially my favorite person. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.